All right. This question was sent to me. This is question 1.3, number 17 in the book. I'm going to give you the number 17 in the book, number 8 online. So 1.3, number 8 online, number 17 in the book. So if you turn to number 17, if you turn to 1.3 in the book, this problem will look like number 17. Now, did I go over review of graphing? Did I do that? Because I get y'all mixed up with 110 class. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, turn to that section of your notes. What does it say when y is equal to a number? When y is equal to a number, it's parallel to what?
X-axis.
I'm sorry, I heard. When y is equal to a number, what is it parallel to? Did I give y'all that information? Did we go over the methods of graphing? I don't know what we went over, so it's the review section. Did we go over methods of graphing?
We didn't.
When y is equal to a number, and let's just go to the whiteboard, because evidently I covered that with the 110 class. I didn't cover that with y'all. All right, so here is our review of graphing. Y is equal to mx plus b, and y is equal to mx plus 0. All right, those are your basic linear functions. Did I go over this? I don't think I did in this class. All right, when you have y is equal to mx plus b, what is m? Somebody tell me what m is. The slope. All right, there's 3 parts. There's this guy. Sorry. I'm trying to turn it off. Y'all have a heart attack while my phone goes off. I can't shut it off. Don't you hate it when your phone goes off and there's 5 different things going on at one time and you can't turn it off? And it usually happens when you're in a place that don't need to go off.
They're literally like swallowing each other.
Talk to me right now. It's class. I don't know why class has started, so I don't know why I'm expecting y'all to talk now. Y'all shut up when class starts. Hold on just a second. I gotta add somebody. Hold on.
Wait, is this a Donut. Jordan has donuts. I called her Donut. I called her Donut.
I really do. All right, so we've got y is equal to mx plus b. The yellow is something. And then we've got the m. And then we've got the b. And what is the b?
It's part of me.
I heard, and I heard. Y-intercept. So write those down. This is the direction. If it's positive, left to right, up. If it's negative, left to right, what? Down. This is your slope. This is your vertical over your horizontal. And this is your y-intercept. Now, sometimes you have to calculate the slope. M is equal to delta y over delta x, which is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. If I give you 2 points, or you get 2 points on a line, which way do we read? That's not rhetorical. I'm asking y'all to interact with me. Which way do we read? Left to right, unless you're from the Middle East, Masalama. If you're from around here, you read from left to right. So x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. And plug and what?
Chug.
Plug and chug. Does you use parentheses? Yes. Do I use it just for teaching? No. I use it so I don't mess up. But I've only got several degrees. 7 minus 3 over 5 minus 2. And 7 minus 3 is 4. And 5 minus 2 is 3. So your slope is 4/3. So now you can find the slope if you solve for y, or you can calculate the slope. What if I need to write an equation? Well, then you use the point slope equation. And what is the point slope equation? Well, it's what you use when you're given a point and a what? Slope. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Okay, now so this couple more things, and I'm going over this for a reason, because if somebody sent this question in, that means that somebody needs to review over the graphing part. So that's why I'm doing it, and that's what I do the first couple of weeks. And I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to do. I hit that one time. Really? Oh, I do this penny stuff. Okay. Some other things. When y is equal to a number, meaning y is equal to 2, y is equal to 1/2, y is equal to -3. When you have examples when y is equal to a number, it's parallel to what axes?
X.
Good job. Appreciate that interaction. It's parallel to the x-axis, so therefore it's a what? A horizontal line. Therefore, the slope is equal to what? 0. If z is equal to z, the second semester calculus. If x is equal to a number, meaning x is equal to 3, x is equal to 1/2, x is equal to -4. It's parallel to what axis? Y-axis. How'd you know that? Therefore, it's a what line? A vertical line. Therefore, the slope is what? Undefined. Try to ski down a cliff. Can you ski down a cliff? No, you cannot. Gravity makes you go head over heels. You can't ski down a cliff. You can ski down a slope, but you can't ski down a cliff. All right, so that's another property. The last property of graphing is m sub 1 is equal to m sub 2. When the slopes are equal, what kind of lines do you have? Parallel. If the slopes are the opposite reciprocal of each other and they equal -1, what are they? They're perpendicular. So these are all the properties. I didn't say how to graph. These are all the properties of graphing a linear equation. Okay? So now I'm going to go over the 3 methods of graphing right quick, just to make sure everybody's got the review in. Because I'm going where y'all tell me to go right now. So somebody just told me to go over graphing. So method 1. Method 1 is called the chart plot method. This is what we use for linear and what? Non-linear. Linear and non-linear. So this is the most important one for you. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Y is equal to x squared, and you get 4, 1, 0, 1, 4. And that's a parabola, and we talked about that the other day. Method 2. Method 2 is the intercept method. Uh, 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. Plug in 0 for the y-intercept, you plug in 0 for x. For the x-intercept, you plug in 0 for what? For y, Hubert. It's always the opposite. 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. Plug in 0 for x, you get 0 plus 3y is equal to 6. Y is equal to what? 2. 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. Basically, that goes out, or you cover it up. Some people cover it up. That's fine if you're at that point. 2x is equal to 6. X is equal to what?
3.
3. And that's the intercept method. And then the last method, and this is linear. So you're limited on what you can do with method 2 and method 3. Method 2 and method 3 are only used with linear. So we're going to be dealing mostly with method 1 if you don't use your calculator, which you can't use your calculator. No sneezing in class. I would suggest using a calculator because it saves you a whole lot of time. All right? And the third method is the point slope. Point slope method. And y is equal to negative 3x plus 4. 0, 4 is your y-intercept. You've got a negative slope, which means left to right down. And your 3 over 1 is your vertical over your horizontal. So you 0, 4, that's our y-intercept. We've got a line going left to right down. And then 3 up, 1 over. 1, 2, 3, 1 over. 1, 2, 3, 1 over. I love doing this way because I always get a student, oh, the way I was taught that you have to go 3 to the left and 1. No, you were taught wrong. What does positive and negative tell us in math and science? It only tells us one thing. It starts with a D, and that's what?
Direction.
Direction. Left to right up or left to right down. That's the only choices you have. And then you put vertical over horizontal. You can go 3 down. 1, 2, 3, 1 over. 1, 2, 3, 1 over. Doesn't matter as long as you go with the trace line. But you get these teachers that say, well, if it's negative 3, that means you have to go negative 3 to the left and 1 down or 1 up. I get so irritated when I hear a student say that. All right, anyway, that's the 3 methods of graphing. So this is the 3 methods of graphing, and you should be able to put those 2 things together, the properties of graphing and the 3 methods of graphing. You should be able to do any problem now on graphing a linear or nonlinear. So let's go back to the question, and hopefully now you feel good about yourself and you can answer the question. If not, then we all know what that means. That you are a failure and a disappointment. So here is the question. God, somebody laughs. Somebody's got a sense of humor. That's good. Most of the time I hear, I'm offended. So, what is this one? Well, first of all, you got to solve for y. So let's solve for y. Y is equal to what? Y is equal to a number.
3 over.
Okay? If y is equal to a number, what is that? A horizontal line. So you plot the point. Negative 3/5 is what? Well, negative 3/6 would be 1/2, wouldn't it? So it's around 1/2. So negative is a little bit over a half, so that's that. And then you just draw a what? A horizontal line. These have arrows on it because I don't see dots, so it's assumed to be arrows. So tell me what the domain is. Domain is equal to what? All real numbers. How else is another way you can write all real numbers?
Infinity.
I'm sorry, say again.
Infinity.
That's half right. What's this arrow? You just named this arrowhead. What's this arrowhead called? Negative infinity. So what is all real numbers in regards to infinity? Negative infinity to what?
Infinity.
To positive infinity. So you can do either one of those. Okay? What's the range? This ought to be easy. What's the range? Negative 3/5. That's the only number you got on the y-axis. So that's pretty simple. Now, what is, let's go ahead and write negative 3/5, so that's going to be y is equal to 0x plus or minus 3/5. Hold on. Them Russians beat you up and throw you in a van and make you vote for who you don't want to vote for. Minus 3/5. Okay, so somebody tell me what my slope is.
0.
And what is my y-intercept?
Negative 3/5.
And you feel good about yourself. See your last thing we did here. Okay, so we did one on complete the square. All right, now we're going to jump back. Now see, that's why I want you to do the review homework and send in the questions, because I'm going on with complete the square because I've only gotten one question. So I'm assuming that everybody knows the material except for this one, and I'm going on to complete the square. You send me questions, I'll go over them. You don't send me questions, I'm going to keep going. Capiche?
Please.
All right, so let's go with completing the square. I think I showed y'all one. Let's go over it, and let's do one as a review. Okay? So I'm going to give you the same type problem, except we're going to do a review. And then we'll move up. X squared plus 8x minus 2 is equal to 0. All right, I want you to complete the square. Give me the vertex, give me the y-intercept. I'll give you the y-intercept, it's negative 2. All right, the y-intercept, the x-intercepts, as well as the vertex. I want you to sketch the graph, and I want you to tell me the domain and the range of this graph. You do it. Oh man, I got to call my department head while y'all working on it. Might complain about something.
How do you do that?
I forgot how to fact. How are you doing? Good.
Oh.
Sorry. So, what's the first step? We already did that. Pay attention.
Move C. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
Move C.
Move C. X squared plus 8x plus blank is equal to 2 plus blank. Half of 8?
4.
4 squared is?
16.
X plus 4, quantity squared, shortcut number 1, is equal to 18. Vertex. What's my vertex?
-4, -18.
I am very impressed, whoever said that. -4 and -18. You actually read the notes. Or oh, a little faint. All right, so now I'm going to solve x plus 4. Quantity squared is equal to 18. X plus 4 is equal to positive or negative. Well, 16 is 4. So I'm going to say 4.2 maybe, or 4.1. And then x is equal to positive or negative 4.1 minus 4. And $4.10 minus $4 is 10 cents. So that's one x-intercept. And negative $8.10 is the other x-intercept. So now we're done. So 0, -2. We've got a vertex of -4, -18, which is way the heck down here. And negative 0.1 is right in there. And negative 8.1, dang over here somewhere. So what is our domain? Well, do we have a radical or a rational? Is there a radical or a rational in this function? Yes or no? A radical looks like this, and a rational looks like a fraction. All right, do we have any of that in here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you a $100 bill. You show me a rational or a radical in that function. Show it to me. There's not one in there. So the domain is, unless specified by the directions, if you have a squared function, a cubed function, a fourth function, a fifth function, any of those functions, a first, x to the first, if you have arrows and there's nothing in the instructions telling you go from -5 to +5 or anything like that, the domain is always going to be what? All real numbers. Range is going to be your y of your vertex, -18 to what? -18 to infinity. Now let's talk about our increasing and decreasing values. Here's our plane. Which way do we read? Left to right. So what happened to it? Disappeared. Oh, great. I hate this thing. So frustrating. Okay, hold on. Let me fix it. I should just throw my pencil down and quit, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Be entertained.
What do you do when you get challenged, right? Throw your pencil down.
Yeah.
There we go. So what's our plane doing from the left?
It's right going.
It's decreasing. Yeah. Drop. Yeah. Going down. The 25-cent word for those two words is decreasing. All right? You're decreasing. Till what? Till you get to the vertex, which the vertex is -4. -4, from -4 to infinity, what's it doing?
Increasing.
Okay, so you go over here and you say decreasing from -infinity to -4. Now, technically, I do not put a bracket on -4. Why? When Michael Jordan would leave the front of the key and jump up in the air and make a slam dunk on the basketball goal, what was happening at that time? He went up, and then he would start coming what? Down. But that vertex, he's neither going up or what? So technically, he's what? Flying for a millisecond. All right? So when you get to this point, you're not going up or what? Down, bottoming out. So if you were a vertex, if it was like this, that would be dang old Michael Jordan, dang old going up here. From that point right there, you're neither going up or down. So that's why 4 gets a parenthesis. Some instructors will disagree with you and put a bracket. I'm just going to tell you that I follow the dang old goat. All right? Increasing. People go, what's a goat? Shut up. -4, comma, positive infinity. How you feel about that? Again, we just did a number 1. So let's do a number 2. You ready? You want to do a number 2 or a number 3? So let's do a number 2 and number 3 at difficulty. Let's go with x squared plus 3x minus 2, or minus, let's do one that's not factorable, minus 5. You suck. Minus 5 is equal to 0. Now, one thing that you do not want to do with completing the square is make it more what? Difficult. What would be making it more difficult? Making a fraction or making a decimal?
Fraction.
Making a decimal. Actually, making it a fraction makes it easier, because you're depending on 3rd grade math for a fraction, where you got to rely on what with the decimal? What do you got to rely on then? Calculator. Okay? But some of y'all was raised on a calculator and give it a name, and, you know, have a little bed beside your bed with it, with a little pillow, twirl it around on your finger like a basketball, but you can't make change or spell mom backwards when you're all right, so x squared plus 3x plus blank is equal to 5 plus blank. Half of 3 is what? 3 halves. 3 halves squared is 9/4. Now, if you can't do that simple math, we need to talk about you being in general math instead of college algebra. And that will give you x plus 3 halves. Quantity squared is equal to 24th plus 9/4. And no, I'm not going to tell you where I got that, because you should know. X plus 3 halves to the 2nd power is equal to 29/4. And there you can find your vertex and solve. So keep going. Oh, I'm hungry. I need to eat my little tomato sandwich over there, but I know as soon as I eat it, it's going to squish and get all nasty, so I'm just going to wait. There's entirely too much fun being obtained out there. We're going to have to do away with having fun at the energy camp. Got good parking, you got no hills to climb up, and then you have a party every day outside in front. You have to make things discouraging, not make things happy. Y'all having parties at Easley or Oconee yet?
No.
These satellite campuses, community campuses. We have parties all the time. So, anybody going to see my movie tonight? None?
I was going to, but I got to work.
Oh, I'm going. I'm taking my son too. I'm forcing him to go. He's already called me as well. I figured after we finish our beer, we'll go to the DSS. I'm going to Regal. They serve beer at the Regal, so I figured I'd get the tank while I'm watching it. That makes it even better. Take a little fifth of Jack Daniels with me, and that's the movie when she starts floating. It's a joke, people. Sense of humor, okay? He's an alcoholic. Oh, my department head did not fuss at me. She was giving me an attaboy. So I was dropping students in my online class, and she was saying, "Good job." These people that don't see, we have to take. Y'all listen to this in an online class at Tri-County Tech. I think we're the only college that does this in South Carolina. We take attendance in an online class. If you don't do a certain assignment before Monday of the next week, then you're counted absent for that week. And if you get 2 absences, you get dropped. Now, how stupid is that? But if you need to go to the bathroom, we'll escort you down to the bathroom. Hook you in at night if you want us to. Good gracious alive. Everybody gets a trophy too, and a cry closet. And then when you get to work, when you get your job, you finish college and you go to job, your boss is going to wake you up every morning, and your boss is going to make sure you dress correctly, and your boss is going to make sure you go over your work, and and if you don't do your work, then he's not going to fire you. He's going to give you an attaboy for not doing your work. And then all you have to do is complain about him not paying you enough. And what will he do? He or she do? Just give you more money. Yes, because you complain.
You got to raise the minimum wage, man. $13 an hour.
Yeah, raise it. That way everybody can get a career at McDonald's. You feed all 6 of your kids.
That's hard.
I'm sorry, but that's just ridiculous. Let's make a full-time career out of a part-time job that's designed for high school kids and college kids. Yeah, let's make a career out of it. Heaven forbid we improve, raise the bar. Vertex. Underwater firefighting, gender studies.
Our English.
Yeah, that's a major that you go to. Yeah, you study gender. So you can get a job
Social justice.
at McDonald's.
He told me that.
Social justice.
Oh, and then you can complain about your student loan that you went to Harvard that you can't afford. And, yeah. The government should pay for it.
Yep.
Yeah, government. You don't know what government is? It's G-U-V-M-T. Government. Okay, that's our vertex. Now let's solve. Oh gosh, we can't solve this. Why? It's got fractions in it. Yeah, I know. X plus 3/2 is equal to the square root of 29 over 2. Let's see, 29, square root of 25 is 5. 36, 25 and 6 is 9. Half of 9 is 4. 25, 30, that'd be 5.5. I'm going to say it's 5.4. Somebody tell me what the square root of 29 is.
$5.38516.
Oh my gosh, I am just, I'm just fantastic. I took my brain and I figured out how much the square root of 29 is. Y'all catching on yet? I'm very sarcastic. 5.4 minus 3 over 2. Okay, $5.40 minus $3 is what?
$2.40.
$2.40 divided by 2 is what?
$1.20.
$1 and what? 10 cents? 20, I'm sorry. I can't spell mom backwards. All right. Negative $5.40 minus $3 is what? And what's half of $8.40? $4 and what? Okay, graph it. Isn't it neat how we just did that problem and didn't even touch a calculator? Isn't that amazing?
I need to get a calculator.
How did I get what?
And she said she needs to get a calculator.
Oh, Lord, you don't even need a calculator. What happens if you keep walking the same way every day through a yard? What happens to the yard?
It wears down.
And you form a what?
Trail.
A path, okay, or a trail. If you keep doing things in your head, wow, that'll cause a synaptic pathway in your brain between the problem-solving process and the problem and the actual problem. Wow. And it's easier to walk on the path, and it's faster. What a concept. Or I can give you a little cart, and you can ride along the grass and not do anything. So here we go. Dang old guy with the motorized horse. Did y'all see that on the news? That little guy, he wanted a horse, so his wife said he couldn't have a horse because they lived on like a half-acre land with no, place to put a horse. So he built a horse out of a golf cart motor and 4 batteries, and he built a little body that looks like a horse, and he rides it around town.
MacGyver.
Yep, dang old MacGyver with a golf cart. Dang old MacGyver was on the side of the road, his car broke down. They took a picture of him and said, the world's going to end, MacGyver can't fix his car. It was on Facebook, I saw it. All right, 1.2, negative 4.2, negative 5, and the vertex is negative 1.5, and 4 will go into 28 times, negative 7. What is the domain? Domain is all real numbers. What's the range? Negative 7 1/4 to infinity. What's the increasing value? Decreasing values. Negative infinity to negative 3/2. Increasing from negative 3/2 to positive infinity. All right, let's do nerd. All right, ready to step it up a notch?
Yes.
2 x squared plus 4x minus I'm getting there, y'all. Just minus 6 is equal to 0. What is the difference in this problem?
Let's look.
You can.
That's weird.
There's a 2 in front of the x squared. There's a number greater than 1 in front of x squared. Write that down. Because you got to put in an extra step here. So let's highlight this and say A is greater than 1. If you have A is greater than 1, then you're going to have to do something a little bit different. Yes, you could factor out a 2, but I wouldn't do that right now. I would move C first. Okay? Move C first. Go ahead and do that. Then make a bunch of noise while you're doing it. Plus 4x. Come on. Sound like a rat up there. 9 plus blank is equal to 6 plus blank. Now, on the left-hand side, factor out a 2. So over here, I'm going to put left-hand side, factor out common term of 2. And that's going to give us 2x plus 2x, dork, plus 2x plus blank is equal to 6 plus 2 times blank. Now, I'm not going to go through the derivation of why I did this. You just need to put a note that whatever you factor out, you have to multiply by the right side blank. Whatever you factor out, multiply by right side blank. If I factor out a 3, I'm going to multiply the right side blank by 3. And the reason that is because the original way that was taught about completing the square, you did this. 2x squared plus 4x minus 6 plus blank minus blank equals. That's the original way. Okay? And then you factor out a 2, and then you had to multiply this 2 times this blank, these blanks, and that's why. So I'm not going to show you that because it'll confuse you, so just take my word for it. All right? Capiche? Everybody say, yeah, I'll take your word for it. All right, now we're back to the original number 1, number 2 problem. So finish it. Take half of 2, square it, add it to both sides. Now, I'm going to do something that I don't do very often because I'm usually running late and behind. I'm going to call the roll before time's up. So that doesn't mean you can leave. All right? Some of y'all start doing the hacking up convulsions and stuff. I can't tell, did we get any reaction out of Pendleton today? Anybody say anything at Pendleton?
Yes.
Okay, good. Somebody said something good. I'm glad. At least we got some interaction out of you. Y'all need to bring a red Solo cup, just like the Easley campus does. Just bring in a red Solo cup every morning. Hopefully by 9:30, y'all will be like talkative. 9. What's today? 9 what? 6?
6. Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, this is Pendleton. Burgess.
Here.
Butler. Butler.
Here.
Okay, speak up. Can, we only like 30 miles away or 15 miles away. Can.
Here. Here.
Franklin. Franklin. Mr. Griffin.
Here.
What happened to you yesterday? You wasn't here yesterday.
No, sir.
You hung over in a ditch somewhere or what?
My sister had a
Hamby.
baby.
Hamby.
Here.
Heath.
Here.
McCollum.
Here.
JC is there. Roach.
Here.
Talbert.
Here.
Vickery.
Shut up.
I think I heard a here. Y'all got to learn to speak up. This ain't church, okay? 9-6. Grady.
Here.
Callahan.
Here.
Dean. Floyd. Floyd. Gully.
Man, you guys are funny.
Gully. 4. And Ken is here. Bixler. Bixler,
Here.
15 minutes later. Collins,
Here.
Martin,
Here.
Page, both of you,
Here.
and Terry.
Here.
And for our Leonhardt is here. Lusk.
Here.
Leonhardt went out, but she was here. Speed
Here.
and Jordan.
Here.
All right, so let's see what happens. What's half of 1? I'm sorry, what's half of 2? 1 squared? I'll do that for you. 1. You tell me what's wrong with this calculator. I put 1 to the 29th power in it 16 times, and it's still telling me it's 1. 2, x plus 1, quantity squared, is equal to, I'll do this for you, 8. Now, what's your vertex? Write it down.
-1.
-1.
-8.
Good job. I'm proud of y'all. So go over here. You don't have to write an arrow. Just go over here and say vertex, -1, -8. Continue. Divide by 2. X plus 1, quantity squared, is equal to 4. X plus 1 is equal to positive or negative 2. X is equal to positive or negative 2 minus 1. I'll do this one for you. 2 minus 1 is 1. -2 minus 1 is -3. All right, draw it up. 4 things: domain, range, increasing, decreasing. Looks good to me. What do y'all think?
Great.
Like ASMR.
What's the domain? If you miss the domain on any of these questions, don't what? Don't tell anybody. Okay? Because all of the domains on these functions are what? All real numbers. What's the range? -8 to infinity. All right, what's decreasing? Decreasing is negative infinity to what? To -1, Hubert. That's right, class. And then increasing from -1 to what? Infinity. You feel good about yourself? Any questions? Let's move on to number 4 and 5. That's the number 3/4. Let's try number 4/5. Somebody tell me what time it is so I can prepare for the convulsion.
10:35.
Okay, so we still got time before the convulsion starts. All right. So, how about same type problem, only this time move C first. Now, I'm prepared for about 90% of y'all's head to explode when you factor out the 2. So I'm prepared for that. Because most of y'all were on calculator drill team in high school.
It's just.
calculators out, and it's like the drill team in Ethan I in Virginia, Marine drill team. 2x squared plus 3 halves x plus blank is equal to 6 plus blank. Now I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to make it smaller because right thing side by side and it puts it in separate. When you write it out to the right, it puts it together. No consistency whatsoever. Anyway, I'll move this up and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller because I'm going to go up and I'm going to actually do, without any mental math, I'm going to factor that 2 out. When you factor, what are you doing? Multiplying or dividing?
Dividing.
You're dividing. I'm going to divide. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do 2x squared divided by 2 and plus 3 halves divided by 2. That's what I'm doing when I'm factoring, right? Except when I factor, I bring it out here, and then I write write the x squared here, and then something x. But here's what we're actually doing. So I'm going to focus on this right here. So I'm going to bring it out here, and I'm going to say, okay, we got a 3 halves divided by 2 over what? 1. I multiply by the reciprocal, which gives us 3 what? 3/4. So now I've got 3/4 right here. Plus blank is equal to 6 plus 2 times blank. Now we're back to number 1 or number 2, or number 3, the one we just did. Now, take 3/4 and divide it by what?
2.
2 and square it. So do that. I'll put it down here just like I did this. 3/4 divided by 2 over 1, which means you multiply by what? 1 over 2, and that's going to give you 3 what? 3/8, which squared gives you what? 9 over what?
64.
So that goes here, and that goes here. Now, somebody tell me what grade math this is. 3rd grade math. 3 times 1 is 3, 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 2 is 8, 3 squared is 9, 8 squared is 64. So if you can't do these, you're basically wearing a sign around your neck that says what?
I'm stupid.
I'm a loser, and I can't do 3rd grade math. So if you need to brush up on your 3rd grade math, the best thing is to keep it to yourself, go home, and work on your 3rd grade math. That gives us shortcut number what? Shortcut number 1 there, which gives us 2 times x plus 3 over what? 8. Quantity squared equals, oh my God, we might as well just quit. Okay, because we can't do that. I'm going to write it out. 6 over 1 plus 2 over 1 times 9 over 64. And y'all think I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. I do this with my Math 110s. I do it with the 109s. I do it with any review in Calc 1. I do this because students, it's like you freeze up. And the reason is you're taught how to do fractions back in my son just learned how to do fractions. And then you're told what? Just use your calculator. And then you're dumb as a post when you get to college algebra because you rely on that calculator. The calculator is not designed for you to add fractions. The calculator is designed for you to take 237.5, multiply it by 372.3. Your calculator is to graph something that's really quick, especially like exponentials. Think of this. If Rain Man has to do it, that's what the calculator's for. 6 plus 2 over 1 times 9 over 64 is not Rain Man. That is normal mathematics. Okay? And if you don't know who Rain Man is, then that's another problem too. 2 x plus 3/8 quantity squared is equal to 6/1 plus, what does that 9/64 turn into? That's not rhetorical. I'm asking y'all to interact. What does 9/64 times 2/1 turn into?
932.
Thank you. 9/32. You use the canceling. Okay, so now we're going to 2 times x plus 3/8 quantity squared is equal to, 1 will go into 32. 32 times 6 is 196, 198, 192. Somebody check me. Is it 192?
Yes, sir.
192 over 32 plus 9/32. And that's 2 times x plus 3/8. And we're only on, well, this is like difficulty 5. So we haven't even got to the hard stuff yet. All right, equals 1? Somebody help me out there. 201 over 32. What's 192 plus 9? I thought so. And a lot of you are saying, oh my God, how are we ever going to do this? Well, it's going to simplify out because you still got to divide by 2, and then you got to take the square root of 64. When you divide by 2, that denominator is going to turn into 64, and it's going to turn into a perfect square again. 15 is the perfect root of 225. 196 is 14. So you know it's going to be around 14.1. Somebody take the square root of 201. What do you get? It's a miracle. So here, what's my vertex? My vertex is negative 3/8, comma, 201 over 32. Are you worried about that right now? No, because when you get ready to graph that on a graph, you turn it into a decimal. Now I'm going to divide by 2, and that's going to give me x plus 3/8 quantity squared is equal to 201 over what? 64. This is so frustrating. I hit the daggone thing. Hit it. I've hit it like 5 or 6 times. Is that enough? All right, so let's continue. X, take the square root of both sides, and that's x plus 3/8 equals square root of 201 over 8. See, again, that third grade math comes into effect. Square root of 64 is 8. X is equal to positive or negative 14.1 minus 3 over 8. Well, Hubert, if it's so easy, why don't we do it? Because we are what's the word? Lazy. Yes. We want the answer what? Right now. We want our job right now. We don't want to work. We don't want to. And I'm being facetious, okay? But that's what we are dealing right now at Tri-County Tech and other colleges. We are dealing with the student that wants everything when? Right now. I don't want to look at any handouts. I don't want to look on the outline. I want you to tell me what I missed last week. I don't want to go to the video. I don't want to do this because it's work. But on the alternative, on the other side of that sword, it's a lot of work, and a lot of these steps you can skip. But how difficult is the mathematics? Very, very simple. But we don't want to do the work. We just want the answer. Okay? So, what is 14 minus 3? And 11 over 8, 12 over 8 goes down to what? 4/3, which is 1.3? So I'm just going to say around 1.3. Hubert, how do you just do 1.3? What are we doing to this graph? Are we creating the space shuttle, or are we sketching a graph? Sketching a graph. Does it matter whether I get 1.3 or I get 1.322? Doesn't matter. Okay, I want to see your graph. I want to see if you can sketch this graph from just what's given. Okay, what is 14 plus 3?
17.
17 divided by 8. Well, 8 going there 16 times. That's 2 and what?
2.
It's negative 2 point what? 1? Somebody check me. What is, y'all can do the actual math. Somebody do the actual math. 375, okay. Like my pencil's going to get that close. All right? But somebody take 14.3 and minus 3 for me in your calculator. What's 14.1 minus 3? And then divide that by 8. Tell me the actual number. 1.3. 14.1 minus 3 over 8.
1.385.
Okay, 3, 8, ... Okay, there's your answer there that you would punch in the box in your homework. Okay, and then what's the other one? 2.1 what? 2.137 blah, 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 blah. I don't care. This is what you type in your boxes. For your sketching of your graph, you can do it what? In your head. Okay? Because that's what you do. You're sketching a graph. Because you want to see what the domain, what the range is, what the increasing and decreasing values are. Okay, so we're ready to plot this. So our y-intercept is -6. Our vertex is -3/8. Well, 3/4 would, 3/9 would be 1/3. So that's 1/3. And then down 201 divided by 32. Well, that's 4, isn't it? 4, no, 5, 6, 6. So -6 point something.
6.28.
Thank you. And then 1.3, and then -2.11. 1, 2. Looks like to me everything's lining up. And now you can find your domain and range, increasing and decreasing values. Okay, so what I tell you that was, a 4 or 5? Now let's move up to 5 and 6. I guarantee you there's somebody sitting in here that's gone through Algebra 1, Algebra 2, 101 or 102 and has never seen complete square. That is, to me, makes me mad. Okay? It really does. Because what do you use on completing the square? Nothing but your what? Your brain. And that's why we got people that can't make change. -2x squared minus 4x minus 7 is equal to 0. What's the difference in this one?
It's a negative.
It's got a negative, so instead of factoring out a 2, you got to factor out a what? A -2, and that's going to change the sign of the middle number. And it's also going to be a parabola opening which way? Downward, because you know your parent graphs. So move C first. Okay, I'm going to ask Easley a question since Easley is talkative. I'm going to ask y'all a question. How many of you have seen complete the square before?
I have, but I can't see.
You have to talk.
Okay, well, there's 1 or 2 of you not raising your hand. So. I guarantee you there's somebody in each campus that has never seen it before. You don't have to raise your hand. I was just picking on y'all.
I did it, but they never made it. They always made it numerically make sense where we didn't have to. You just do it mentally without writing down anything.
Yeah.
Make it.
Now, when do you use the quadratic formulas that they beat upside your head like a 2x4? When you have a decimal. And I'm going to get into that when we get into the business end of the quadratic and we have a quadratic with decimals. I'm going to say, get that calculator out and let's use the quadratic formula because that's what it's used for. You don't use a hammer to tighten a bolt. You don't use the quadratic formula for every God-blessed thing in algebra. I got into a fuss with one of my constituents one time about that. Yeah, let's just take the hammer and let's just, this pipe on this commode, let's just take the hammer and knock the hell out of it. And it'll fix it. Just use quadratic formula for everything. You need to graph a line, use the quadratic formula. You have teachers like that. When do I use reverse FOIL? When I'm not looking for the vertex. When I'm just looking for just x-intercepts, yes, I'll use the reverse FOIL or the shortcuts. And I'll factor set equal to 0, I'll factor and I'll find the x-intercepts. If I need the vertex and the x-intercepts, I'm going to use the complete the square. If I have decimals, I'm going to use the quadratic formula. Screwdriver, screw. Nail, hammer. That's what we show you different things for. They're different tools. Not take a hammer to a water pipe. So, now that I've got off my preaching box, negative 2x squared, everybody pass the plate around, we're going to eat fried chicken afterwards. Minus 4x plus blank is equal to 7 plus blank. I don't care about the chicken, but pass the plate around. I want some money. I'm a Southern Baptist, so I can make fun of the fried chicken, okay? That's the only food that Southern Baptists will eat after church. That's how I grew up. And I wonder why we have heart problems. People in the South are raised on the 3 food groups: chicken, fried chicken, and fried chicken. So negative 2 x squared. Somebody's going to complain that I made fun of Southern Baptists. Plus 2x, I'm offended, plus blank, is equal to 7 plus 2 times blank.
Hey, my crack closet in safe space.
Take my safe space in my crack closet. Okay. I think I got this.
Okay, so what's half of 2? 1. I'll do that for you. 1 squared is 1. All right, finish it. Now you're back to a 1 or 2. You see, you always go back to number 1 and number 2. You get it in front. Let's see. I got a noise coming out of my front right tire, so I need to take the tire off, and then I need to take the caliper off the brakes. Oh, I see a brake that's broke, a brake shoe that's broken. So I had to take the tire off, had to take the caliper off. And then I found out that I got a brake shoe that's broken. I got a negative 2. I need to take it out. And then once I take it out, I know what to do. Dang old mechanic. Dang old critical. Dang old thing. Oh, I tell you, my son told me that I was too hard on him the other day. Yeah, I said, we'll call DSS. I said, you want to grow up to be a snowflake? You want to grow up and be able to live? Oh, you're too hard on me. No, I wasn't too hard on him. I mean, you can't get up after you get hit by a 2x4 across the head. I mean, that's not hard. I do not use a 2x4, okay? I use a long 3-foot poly stick. It's about 3/8 inches wide. It's like a permanent switch. And I've only had to discipline my daughter and my son one time. I think that's a pretty good record.
I always had equal.
Well, my mother, we had a peach tree orchard, and I had to water those peach trees with a 5-gallon bucket. 3 acres of peach trees I had to water twice a week in the summertime when it got real hot with a 5-gallon bucket. Anyway, don't ask. It's my dad. He made me pick cotton. He made me do all kinds. He made me plow a mule, 5 acres with a mule. He made me do all of that, okay? He made me water those. But anyway, she used to make me pick those switches. Or she would just use the handle of fly water. But you know what? I grew up crazy and psycho. Got 3 or 4 degrees. You know, I went to the Marine Corps. I was psycho in there too. And I got beat when I was a kid. And it just tore up my whole life. -2, x plus 1, quantity squared. I blow up stuff. 7 minus 2 is 5. What's the vertex?
-1, -5.
Good job. I'm impressed. And we know it's opening downward. Okay? So we're going to have to look at that too. I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to solve it. -2, x plus 1, quantity squared is equal to 5. Divide by -2. Divide by negative. Uh-oh. What's the problem? What's your problem? Dang on my cousin Benny. What's the problem? Come on. I couldn't hear. I'm mumbling. Enunciating volume. What's the problem? No, you didn't take fractions. Fine. Nope. Come on, Pendleton, Easley, Oconee. What's the problem?
Oh, you can't find the square root.
You can't take the square root of a
Negative number.
Negative.
negative. Write that down. Highlight it. Let's highlight that negative because now we're learning something. Some of you that's had 102 or whatever, you can't take the square root of a what? Of a negative. This leads us to what we call the discriminant. Somebody tell me what discriminant is. Anybody remember from 102 or algebra 2 or pre-calculus? What's the discriminant? It is what's under the radical that tells us what kind of function we have. When I do this right here turns into a discriminant. A negative tells us no x what? Intercept. A positive tells us 2 x-intercepts. And a 0 tells us what? 1 x-intercept. You need to write that down. So far, we've gotten all what? Positives. Now we have a negative. So we need to say to ourselves, this parabola does not cross the what? X-axis. Write that down. Okay, let me see if it's convulsion time yet. It's about time. Okay, now I need y'all to write down. We need to go over discriminant. We need to go over I. When we start back, we need to go over I. So you need to write that in your notes because that way you'll remind me where to take off from. Go ahead and grab this function. You got a y-intercept. You've got a vertex. Let me just do that right quick before you leave because I already called the roll. What's the y-intercept? -7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What's the vertex? -1 and what?
Negative.
And which way is it going? So it doesn't cross the what? Doesn't cross the x-axis. Ain't that neat? Y'all just learning all kind of stuff in here, aren't you? All right. Y'all have a good weekend. Go see the Nun tonight. I'll see y'all there. Y'all have a good day. See y'all Tuesday, okay? Y'all keep it between the ditches.
That's right.
Oh, one class sat and they went. Parents follow.
Yeah.